Wow, this is a second take on a soundbite. I'm driving around with Sergeant Allen here in Anchorage, Alaska, and as I was trying to record before, a gentleman just took a nosedive right into the street. He's so drunk. And we've been to 10 cities and just escorted a person down to what they call the sleepover. What do you think about what's going on here?
Well, unfortunately, it's one of the typical things, alcohol. Unfortunately, alcohol gets in the people's system, and this is an area that is really ripe for the chronic inebriates to hang out. And we see this quite a lot of the time, especially this time of month when checks come out, either corporation checks from the native corporations or from the Social Security benefits. The checks come out, alcohol gets purchased at a high level. People are highly intoxicated in a very short amount of time, and their money's gone in a very short amount of time, but they're also drinking. And this is unfortunately one of the things we see all the time.
And you said in the summertime it gets worse.
In the summertime, we get a lot of people from the villages come in because, again, there's benefits in Anchorage. If you stay on some of the far villages, there are no benefits. If you come into Anchorage, you've got the Brother Francis shelter to stay. You've got Beans Cafe to eat. You've got the Tudor Rescue Mission to eat and sleep. They've got soup kitchens and panhandling. And that seems to be probably one of the big money makers here in town for these people is the panhandling.
No sooner did we drop somebody off at the sleepover that there's another person. I mean, we went a few blocks. To me, this is a crisis.
Unfortunately, this happens all the time, and what we typically see, again, unfortunately, this is the beginning of the month, so the checks are just now. There's lots of money out there. They buy lots of alcohol. They get into some of the cheap hotels, and they buy up all the booze, and then they start drinking it. It's not unusual because they make that transit from the Brother Francis shelter to the Beans Cafe where they're eating, and then right back out on the street after they've been to the Community Service Patrol, the CSP, at the sleep off. Once they've been in there for several hours, they're released back on the street. So it's a great big cycle. They go right back out, start drinking, and they'll be back the same. You know, there's some people we have picked up 2 times in one night, and that's the sad part, when we pick them up twice in one night.
And you're telling me that it's quite frequently you'll have people that'll blow a 3.0.
Yeah, in fact, we just dropped a person off, and it was walking and talking fairly good. He was sleeping, so we made contact with him at the grocery store here, and he ended up blowing 0.0269. And that right there is just about 3 times over the level for intoxication for driving.
And now the people in the tents, in the camps, I mean, they're out there camping, and they're camping illegally, basically.
Yes, that's correct.
And we went out, you allowed me to go along with you, and you were giving a 12-hour notice for them to vacate.
Yeah, that is the ordinance that we have for the trespassing in this particular ordinance.
Humpies and City Hall, the 600 block of West 6.
Okay, that was an emergency call for a man down, and it wasn't affecting us. So, what we have, what was the question again? Let's go again.
the campers are out there. We're there at the 12-hour notice to vacate.
Yeah, we put that notice out there. It's the ordinance. It's actually a trespassing ordinance. And what happens is these particular illegal campers were on city property where it's posted no camping. It's supposed to be posted no camping. That's one of the reasons we gave them, a little more time, because this one is not in fact posted, even though it's a city park. You can't post there. Plus, they're back in there cutting the trees down and using it for firewood and building their camps.
That's my seatbelt.
That's your seatbelt.
I'm good at that. You say you during the winter time, you're not so...
We try to take a little softer touch during the winter months because, first of all, even though there are places for these people to go, a lot of them, they take all their personal possessions, they put them in these tents, they have their sleeping bags, they're all set up. And unfortunately, I just can't foresee us taking a person and throwing them back out in the streets in the cold, again, so to speak. With no place to go. It's like uprooting their home, and we just don't do that during the wintertime. We're trying to be compassionate about that part of the...
Well, I've been very, I've been around the block, and I I can tell that you're not doing this for me. All the officers I've seen have had extreme compassion, and it must be frustrating at times that, I mean, there's people over and over that keep on going to the sleepover.
Well, it's always frustrating when you're trying to enforce the law, and unfortunately this particular state doesn't have a drunk in public law. But it's frustrating we take the same people over and over and over back to the community service patrol to sleep off, and you'll see them back out there twice in one night still doing the same thing. And unfortunately, even though it's frustrating, you know, we get paid to do this, and we're hoping that the system someday will have some kind of a remedy for this. The city is right now looking for that remedy. They're going to try the homeless approach and see if they can't find the housing first approach. We would love that to work, because that would take them off the streets, at least have them in one facility. The big problem you're running into is, and I believe you've mentioned it, not in my backyard. People do not want a facility in their backyard that's going to be housing a bunch of inebriates. They're going to be allowed to drink. So,
what do you think the solution is?
I think the solution is going to be the housing first, and I have seen that personally, where we have had 3 individuals up here that we have sent. We've assisted them in getting back to their homes where they had housing. And once we get them into the housing, and again, in this case with relatives, they were allowed to find a job. They got a job, and they're working, and all 3 of them have got back to us and said, you know, we thank you very much. You've turned our life around. We've got a place to live now. We've got family around us. We've got food. We've got a job. So I think 90% of it is starting with some kind of housing. And then once you get them into housing, you're going to have to get some kind of treatment or some kind of counseling to get them off the bottle. And that's going to be the tough part. That is going to be the hard part.
I mean, this is almost 24/7. You guys are running around doing this.
We can do this 24/7, absolutely.
It's totally amazing. I've been very impressed. I was impressed 2 nights ago when first contact, when we actually called 911 because somebody fell in the snowbank. Now, this last year, some people died.
Yes, there were numerous people. I think I'm thinking the count was up around 12 or more of our homeless chronic inebriates died, and the autopsies all revealed. I think all of exception of 2 revealed that it was acute alcohol poisoning, and some of them in fact had liver damage and they died from just natural causes, but the alcohol was the pusher of it.
Well, I've never experienced anything like this, and I'm grateful for the Anchorage Police Department and Sergeant Allen for taking me around and just really opening my eyes to a whole new view of homelessness in 10 cities.